Welcome to Graziella TV. Welcome to Graziella TV.
Welcome to Graziella on www.graziellaTV.com. Serving up a hot dish of this and of that, only on GRAZIELLATV.com. Be there.
Hello and welcome to Graziella TV. I'm your host, Graziella Barata. Today, we're going on a historical tour of downtown Manhattan. It's a gorgeous spring day out, so come join me.
If you're sightseeing in New York City, this is a perfect place to start, right at the very south tip of Manhattan. Behind me, as you can see, there's a huge line going for a ferry to see the Statue of Liberty. And here we are at the World Trade Center Sphere. It stood at the Trade Centers for 3 decades before it was damaged in 9/11. And now it's at the south tip of Manhattan, where the eternal flame is lit next to it. It serves as an icon of the American spirit and hope. So before New York's famous subway stations, it had elevated trains, such as this station that still stands. It began in 1870 and ran along 9th Avenue and Greenwich. So here we are at the beautiful Bowling Green in downtown Manhattan. This area served as a beautiful public area for New Yorkers and tourists alike to kind of just lounge around, have lunch, and just relax.
Notice the elevated train line in the back.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Back in the 1770s, a statue of King George was placed here, but later tore down by the Americans during the American Revolution. Now we're headed for Fraunces Tavern, one of the oldest taverns in New York City, frequented by George Washington and his crew. This spot marks the site where the original Fraunces Tavern stood. In the early 1900s, this building was restored. Still pretty historic. Just waiting for my pal George Washington to come back.
This is Fraunces. Hi, Fraunces. So here we are in the Dunsmore Gallery by artist John Ward Dunsmore. He depicted scenes from the American Revolution. Dunsmore was known for his realistic depictions of these historic events, which were often romanticized by other artists. These paintings date back to the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Thanks to the Sons of the Revolution, a lot of the Revolutionary War items were restored and preserved. Here, there is a lock of George Washington's hair. He had color like mine. There's a coffin fragment, a little scary, and a tooth fragment.
So here we have a cannonball, which is representative of the one that crashed through Fraunces Tavern in 1775. So you remember we talked about the statue of King George that was torn down at the Bowling Green? Well, here's a picture of it, and right below it is a piece of the horse's tail preserved today. Okay, so in this room they give a lot of different lectures, and representative of the American flag's history is this wall. It shows how the flag's design originates with the cross of St. George, and it goes through all of these different changes until the flag has reached its final design. So here we are in the long room of Fraunces Tavern, and behind me is a depiction of Sam Fraunces, who was the chef of this very famous restaurant.
And right in front of me is the area in which George Washington gave his tearful farewell in 1783. How cool is this?
Next, we visited the Clinton Room, named after New York's first American governor, George Clinton. Featured here is the wallpaper by Jean Joubert, whose company still stands today. Located at 54 Pearl Street, France's Tavern Museum is rich in history and a must-see in Lower Manhattan. A big thank you to curator Jessica Baldwin and education director Jennifer Patton for welcoming Graziella TV.
Now I'm sitting down at France's Tavern to have a little lunch myself. Can't get dirty. Yeah, I'm really hungry. I get very hungry when I film TV. New York is full of architecture, new and old. Here I stand in front of the New York Stock Exchange, and just across the street is Federal Hall, where George Washington was sworn in as the first U.S. president.
So check it out, here's a statue of our first president, George Washington. He was inaugurated here in New York, not in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for watching this mini historical tour of Lower Manhattan on Graziella TV. Stay tuned for next week's episode right here on GRAZIELLATV.com. And don't forget to like us on Facebook.com/GRAZIELLATV. See you next time!
Got a soldier here. SpongeBob over there. Live action figure. And tons of tourists. All right, off we go. I'm signing off for Graziella TV. See you next time, people. I'm serving hot. Graziella TV. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my serving hot. Welcome to my channel on www.GRAZIELLATV.com. Serving up hot dish of this and that only on GRAZIELLATV.com. I'm being blown away.
I'm serving hot. Graziella TV. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my I'm serving hot. Welcome to my channel on www.GRAZIELLATV.com. Serving up a hot dish of this and of that.